Welcome into OverDrive, Monday afternoon here on TSN 1050, TSN's YouTube channel, and up on Crave later this evening. I'm Aaron Karolnik, that's Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star. We are your official Spain-Portugal post-game show. Kilban, Caldwell, Wildman, they're not as knowledgeable of football as we are, Dave. We are going to bring the heat, talking about Mikel Merino's game-winning goal in the 91st minute to send Spain to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Kind of a snooze fest of a game, but man, this World Cup has been sensational. Yesterday's action, woo! Incredible. Doesn't get any better than that.
That game last night at the Azteca, that was something. That was almost as good as the game I saw a couple nights before that down at the field we can now begin to call BMO Field again.
I'm sure the Bank of Montreal is happy to hear that.
I saw the Portugal-Croatia game. I was lucky enough to be there for that. But last night, at the Azteca. Wasn't that something? I'm sure you were riveted.
I was riveted, absolutely. My guy Jude Bellingham, a brace for England. Listen to my soccer terminology.
And a dumb red card, so you can't play the next game.
Yeah, it's true.
Unless it gets overturned.
Well, it might. Again, we'll talk about USA-Belgium. That's happening later tonight, 8 p.m. So Spain will play the winner of that game on Friday, which should be very entertaining. And, of course, all the antics surrounding Fuller and Balogun and the American striker who was given a red card in their last game, which, of course, almost always means you're not playing the next game.
Take out the almost.
Yes. 1962, yes. It did happen, Dave.
Okay.
Come on. History does repeat itself. But he's playing tonight, and we'll see how the Americans fare against the Belgians. But regardless of who wins, you run into this buzzsaw that Spain is, and we just saw them soundly defeat Portugal. It was a snooze fest of a game again. There was not a lot of excitement, but in that second half, the Spanish seemingly had the ball the entire time. Lamine Yamal is unbelievable in that game, and they're going to be a tough out. They're one of the 4 teams that could win this tournament, depending on who you ask. France, maybe England, Spain.
France
certainly
looks really good.
France is the prohibitive favorite on FanDuel at the moment. But again, anything can happen. We've seen some crazy upsets in this World Cup to this point, and I wouldn't rule out anything. But there is a lot of intrigue that's been going on for a number of weeks with this World Cup. It's been as good as any tournament, any sport that I can remember, and I'm the furthest thing from a traditional soccer guy, but I am sitting there every single night watching every single game. I love it. It is incredible, and I credit our good friends at TSN, everyone who's been working behind the scenes and on camera, who are doing an outstanding job. Whether you're a huge soccer fan or not, it's impossible not to be riveted by this tournament and how it's likely to conclude. And I would continue. Another thing that happened yesterday, Erling Haaland, who's like soccer's Victor Wembanyama, to make it more North American parlance, to dumb it down for the non-soccer people like myself, like the headers, the incredible left foot strike that he had to send Norway past Brazil. Norway, a nation of 5 million people, against the Brazilian soccer powerhouse. Just incredible stuff. Erling Haaland and Mbappe and Messi and Kane and all the stars just continue to shine in this tournament, which is making it so much more compelling, Dave.
Yeah, it's a great point. Erling Haaland, I mean,
oh my God.
They have the alien in the NBA who has the 8-foot wingspan. I mean, this guy.
Look at this dude. Up on TSN's YouTube channel.
6'5".
He is enormous.
In a game where, there's guys that are 5'6", 5'7" out there, and he's 6'5". What do they call him? The robot. They call him the machine. I mean, they know his diet. He eats like raw dairy and a lot of red meat.
Oh, is that right? I don't know anything about the diet of
the
Erling
Viking
Haaland.
diet.
I need to take some notes and follow in the footsteps, I should say, of Erling Haaland, because whatever he's doing with his diet and his physical activities off the soccer pitch, we should probably all be emulating.
He's something to watch. And Norway continues to be that incredible sporting story where you're like, how do they do it? Like per capita, the number of
Victor Hovland and Reitan on the PGA Tour, those two guys have been thriving. Yeah, it's a small country.
And it's not just, and it's like, when they dominate the Winter Olympics, it's like, okay, that you sort of expect it, although it still is amazing because, they are a winter country. But this is a different level that we've ever probably seen. And this guy is just an absolute pleasure to watch, isn't he?
Well, absolutely. And to use a conversation that comes up when Brian, Jamie, and Jeff are on the show, bar play. Erling Haaland in Oslo today has to supersede anything, anywhere for anyone in the history of mankind. No?
You would think.
I can't fathom. This guy walks into any establishment. It's pure pandemonium. And again, we've seen Messi. We saw Ronaldo here in Toronto when he was here. People were surrounding the Delta Hotel where the Portuguese team was staying, and it was bedlam. But this is another level.
This is another level. I mean, Norwegians don't seem to have the same kind of idolization complex. Maybe they're a little more like it seems more like everybody's a citizen, and then we're all this guy's really good at soccer, but he's still one of us. I mean, the idolization of Ronaldo's a different level, man.
Oh,
yeah. Like when you started thinking about this city and the way it embraced Ronaldo, who's now out of the World Cup and
done. It's over.
May have just played his last game as an international. Who knows? Maybe he'll retire with a couple of friendlies as a Portuguese international. But it doesn't feel like he's going to make it to the next World Cup because he's past 40, and who knows. But like that Portuguese sort of phenomena that was here in the city for a few days, I'm not sure we've ever seen anything quite like that.
It was Taylor Swift level. It was basically the soccer version of Taylor Swift.
And he's got twice plus as many Instagram followers as
I don't know. Even after that wedding over the weekend. Is she going by Kelsey? I don't know.
Change her name.
I don't know. Does anyone have any intel on that? Text us 105050. Let us know.
So I mean, I know what you're saying. Like there's nothing like the Ronaldo phenomenon. Like I was saying this the other day. There were some great fan bases in this city, and it was an amazing thing to experience. Like I was at most of the games down at the stadium. And the German fans were amazing, and the Croatian fans were amazing, and the Bosnian fans were amazing when they played Canada. And obviously the Canadian fans were great, and it was really fun to see Canada being a part of it. Because usually this is a city where people watch, the World Cup on TV in a nation far away, and Canada's not a part of it. We've all experienced that many times. But man, the Portuguese just to me took it to a different level.
Well, what's really interesting, and I was at the same bar for Canada winning the Four Nations when McDavid took the pass from Marner, the same bar when Canada lost to the United States in the gold medal game when Jack Hughes, and of course Canada losing 3-0 to Morocco on Saturday. I think the intensity, the just overall ambiance for Canada and Morocco was the best of the three. And maybe it's because it was a weekend during the day, and the gold medal game was 9 a.m. on a Sunday, something like that. Four Nations was at nighttime, but it was just unbelievable to see the investment, the passion, and just how excited people were for this game, Canada-Morocco on Saturday, because I think there was a realistic possibility that Canada could have won the game had they found a way to score early in that first half, which they weren't able to. And we know how it all played out. Morocco scores early in the second half, and then they pile on a couple more. Rather be them, though, or rather be us than them. That's for sure.
I was going to say, you think Roberto Martinez, the Portuguese coach, is in the press conference right now?
I think he's saying that. Yeah.
Is he saying,
Jesse Marsh, I'd rather be us than them. But regardless, it was a hell of a run for the Canadians. They basically accomplished what they were expected to do relative to their opponents, right? You beat Bosnia, you beat Qatar, you beat South Africa, you lose to Switzerland, you lose to Morocco. So that's great. Again, you're also dealing with Davies, that whole fiasco, with Kone, with Flores, with Bombito, a ton of injuries. Again, Canada's not Brazil or France or England where they can weather the storm with all these injuries. So when you're deprived of some of your best players, the expectation level has to go down. And I thought Canada was the vastly superior team in that first half against Morocco. They just couldn't buy one because they don't have the strikers commensurate to do so.
And that's what you realize, right? Like that is the game. Like when it all comes down to it, it comes down to those very, split-second moments that separate really, really good from Erling Haaland and really, really good from Mbappe.
Kane.
Really, really good from Kane.
You're right.
And there's a lot of really, really good strikers, and then there's those guys who've got 7-8 goals in the World Cup.
How do you get the striker? And again, Davies is an incredible player in his own right, but that's not the position he plays. How do you find a guy who can finish to that level? And maybe Promise David in 4 years can do that, or maybe Jonathan David, whoever it might be, Kyle Aaron. Like there's guys, they're decent options, but until you get to the point where you could put out a real transcendent superstar, it's going to be hard to consider Canada at that level. But again, we are in the final 16 of the World Cup, which is massive progress year over year. I'm not trying to take anything away from that at all. And I think there's a lot of talk about how it all played out and some of the tactics deployed by Jesse Marsh on the pitch and off of it that can be brought into question. Absolutely. But I think when you look at the totality of the situation, how it all played out for Canada, I think you'd be pretty pleased. I don't think it was a a resounding success,
No.
but I think they did better than anyone could have anticipated, certainly a number of years ago. And heading into the tournament, if you told me Canada lost 3-0 to Morocco in the round of 16, you'd say, okay, not bad.
Especially when you say their best player played 17 minutes total.
Well,
in the tournament.
that's another conversation. Yeah,
and
for sure.
like that was the thing. Like when in those 17 minutes that Davies came into the game, the one game he played, the game shifted. Like the respect that he got from the opponent and the space that opened up, it immediately became the attack is on.
He has an intimidation factor about him. There's no denying that.
And that was Davies not even running. Like he wasn't opening it up like he can, right? Like he didn't sprint once. He just sort of hobbled down the sideline and commanded the game. And so you're right. Like it's a shame that he didn't play. And we all know the reason he didn't play because he didn't want to play. It's as simple as that.
And maybe, and again, could he have played? Right. Perhaps, but he
Clearly
also
could have.
He also could have played and blown out his hamstring for the fourth time after tearing his ACL. And again, he's got commitments to other individuals, other entities, including Bayern Munich, who no doubt factored it in the decision. I'm sure they're whispering in his ear, hey, buddy, if you're not 100%, don't play. We are investing tens of millions of dollars.
And we just got another guy.
Well, that's it.
Who plays your position.
Exactly.
Who can replace you.
And so from Davies' perspective, you say, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It does. And I would also say the discourse surrounding him and questioning his commitment to the program, I think that's unfair, frankly. We're not in his mind. We're not in his body. We don't know how he feels. My guess is if Alphonso Davies is fit and ready to rock, as he tends to do when he's actually healthy, then he's playing. But clearly he woke up on Saturday, and that's what Jesse Marsh told us, and it's what Kevin Blue, who's running the operation with Soccer Canada, said today. Like, they just were told Davies can't go. And I think we have to take him at face value with that. And I think we also have this North American sports complex, Dave, where we think about hockey players, we think about Patrice Bergeron fighting through this lacerated lung or whatever he was dealing with the playoffs for Boston. Mike Richards has a torn labrum in his left shoulder and his right shoulder. He's playing through the Cup final. It's an incredible sacrifice. He's a soccer player. He has to run, and his hamstring is compromised. I'm not really sure what more you can ask from a guy.
Well, look, I agree with you. You have to put the faith in the athlete, right? You have to put the faith in the athlete. If he says he couldn't play, even though the MRI was clear, if he says he felt something, there's nothing you can really say to that other than okay. I mean, you can't force him to play, clearly. If they could have, they probably would.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no,
there was a time when you probably could force a guy, but here's the bottom line.
But I would say Jesse Marsh tried to, through the media, like, okay, get out there, because, the whole decoy thing, and he talked a lot of his approach throughout the course of this tournament, how Canadian soccer fans view Alphonso Davies now versus before the tournament, and it's not favorable. I think that's fair to say. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but that is a reality. You can point to Jesse Marsh in large part for that being the case.
For sure. Like they were the ones that said the MRI is clear.
Mm-hmm.
They made
you didn't have to say that.
No, you didn't have to say that. Nobody's business what's on the MRI.
Exactly.
There is a medical confidentiality thing there that you could. Austin Matthews wouldn't have appreciated.
I don't think so.
If the Maple Leafs would tell people what was on his MRI.
Yeah, can we get that back MRI from the last 3 years? The trip to Germany, please. Please send that to the media.
How did that MRI look? Jim Hiller, I don't think we're getting that answer anytime soon, right?
Definitely not.
But that's the era we're in, AK. Like, you essentially have to defer to the athlete. If the athlete doesn't want to play, the athlete's not going to play, and that's fair. But I think to your point, the athlete has to understand, and I'm pretty sure Davies understands that he missed a moment here. Like, he could have become the biggest athlete in Canada by
everybody was in. I can't wait to see the ratings for that game. I don't believe TSN has released them yet, but that Saturday, 1:00, must just be shattering all types of records in our country for soccer. I can't even fathom anything would be even close. And do you know anyone who didn't watch that game on Saturday? No. I don't either. So
and the only thing we saw of Alphonso Davies was the bank ads between the hydration breaks and halftime.
And the Theragun usage. Right. The Theragun usage was very prominent as well.
So, he missed the moment, right? Like, he could have taken himself to a whole other level as a Canadian hero, as a national treasure, to use the Drake phrase, right? He could have become a national treasure, and maybe he never will now. He's always going to be valued. He's always going to be remembered. He was a part of this team's rise to where it is, but he couldn't take him to the next level.
Well, and we also have to consider the fact in 2030, the next World Cup, which is a long way away, 4 years, an eternity in sports. Like, who knows how the Canadian soccer team will be looking. Again, it wasn't long ago. Canada was better than Mexico and the United States.
That's right.
Like, it was, what, a year and a half ago? We looked at the CONCACAF standings. We saw Canada top both of those nations. Now you're talking about Mexico going toe-to-toe with England, albeit in Mexico City. So take that for what it's worth. The Americans are playing Belgium tonight as the favorites on FanDuel.
Yeah.
So those two programs have clearly taken a step. Canada's taken a step too, but I don't know if their step is as big as their rivals with regards to other North American compadres.
Right. I think there was an anticipation that they would take another bigger step.
And listen, maybe Canada, if they have Davies and they have Kone and they have Bombito and they have Flores, maybe they're past Morocco. Maybe they're playing France on Thursday.
You have to believe they would have been. Like all they needed that extra injection of, the next level guy that changes the game. And the only guy that they had that could do that was Davies.
Yeah, that's it. And he gave him 16 minutes, which is a real shame, but something that you got to deal with. Injuries are a part of sports. And we found that out with Kawhi Leonard over the last 7 years in LA, and we're still waiting the announcement. I mean, we were told the expectation was it was coming today.
The moratorium has ended.
The moratorium has ended, and Kawhi is not yet a Toronto Raptor, but there's definitely some news surrounding KL2 that is of significant intrigue off the court with regards to his representation. We'll get to that today.
I thought you were going to talk about KL7.
Oh, yes. Well, KL7 as well. That's Kyle Lowry. We're going to talk about that on the other side as well, and with Leo Routens, who's going to join us in studio at 6:30. Big FIBA game. Canada versus Jamaica. 40-point favorites are the Canadians.
Love it.
Take the points.
You think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I won't profess to be an expert.
Going to run it up on the Jamaicans?
I think SGA is having himself a night against the Jamaicans. I don't know if they have a matchup for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's my guess.
Nobody does.
They probably don't have anybody to guard him. So Leo's going to join us around the table here. Jason DeVos in about 30 minutes. I'm Aaron Korolnik. That's Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star. Lots more to come here on OverDrive.
Tonight.
This is the moment.
On TSN 1050. The round of 16 continues as the United States takes on Belgium. Coverage starts at 8 p.m.
The world's biggest stage.
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Overdrive is brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Aaron Karolnik, usually on First Up here on TSN 1050. 5 o'clock start because we were coming on after Spain and Portugal. Spain beats Portugal 1-0 on the 91st minute, so a late win for the Spanish. They'll move on to play the winner of USA-Belgium on Friday. That game going on at 8 o'clock tonight. That's Dave Feschuk from the Star. I almost didn't introduce you there, Dave.
That's okay.
Rookie mistake. Rookie
Big
mistake.
Deal. No big deal.
Big deal happening in Toronto tomorrow, though. The Toronto Raptors will be holding a big news conference tomorrow morning with a special guest. July 7th. Special guest. Any idea who that could be?
The 7th day of the 7th month. Could it be KL7?
Kyle Lowry. Bobby Webster did say the VIP will join for the milestone team announcement. So the expectation, I don't know why we're dancing around it, is that Kyle Lowry will probably be one day to retirement with the Raptors, and they'll probably announce plans for the jersey retirement, maybe some kind of statue, which is, again, I don't know if we want to do the whole Vince Carter thing, but I think it was a disgrace that he was had his number retired at all, especially before Kyle Lowry. He should have been the first. He's the greatest Raptor of all time. He was a massive contributor on the NBA championship team, and he should have been the first one up there. And turns out he's going to be the second one up there. That's the expectation, at least, that they're going to have that announced tomorrow. And I guess that's probably why Kawhi is yet to be announced tomorrow afternoon or maybe Wednesday. There's kind of spread out the news with the Toronto Raptors. MLSC's got a lot of stuff going on. Rogers has got a lot of stuff going on.
So does Kawhi.
Yes, and
Kawhi's
Kawhi.
firing his agent.
Well,
he's
that's
shuffling
right.
aside Uncle Dennis.
Yeah, he is. Uncle Dennis no longer part of the equation for Kawhi Leonard.
Not officially.
That's a good point. Yeah, I wonder if he'll be in Toronto at any point this year. But
he never was officially
that's true.
licensed
that is true.
to be a representative.
What was the guy named?
Kawhi.
Mitch Frankel is his actual agent. Was his actual agent, and now he's got a couple new people who are representing him, which is odd because Uncle Dennis and Mitch Frankel, his previous representation, had their fingerprints all over the aspiration scandal, which I suppose is still unresolved with Kawhi. Do we know?
Very unresolved. The league's investigating, and they haven't announced
it's like, you know what? Just go to Canada and get new agents, and it's all good. Maybe that's how that unfolds.
Wow, there's definitely a deliberate attempt to turn the page for Kawhi.
I would say so.
A change of location, a change of representation, and who knows what else he's going to change between now and the beginning of the season. Raptors are hoping he doesn't change the fact that he can really play.
I tend to agree. Let's get to something to chew on, which is brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. This may be contentious. This was a question we kicked around with Doogie prior to the beginning of the show. Who will have a longer playoff run this coming season? The Toronto Raptors or the Toronto Maple Leafs? Now, on paper, it would be easy to say the Raptors, simply because Kawhi Leonard's coming back. They've got a damn good team. Again, they almost got to the second round of the NBA playoffs this past season. They took Cleveland, depending on how close you consider, they took them to a legitimate threat in the first round. The Maple Leafs were the fifth worst team in the NHL this past year.
Yeah.
So clearly there's been a lot of turnover with the Leafs, a ton of it. In the NBA's Eastern Conference, though, I would say it's become very, very competitive. And the NHL's Eastern Conference is also very, very competitive. How would you answer the question between the Maple Leafs and the Raptors, Dave?
Well, I think it's the Raptors. I think they'd have to be the odds-on favorite. If you're an odds maker, you know how to run some numbers on implied probabilities.
Numbers. I do.
I mean, I agree with you. Like when you think about the power shift in the NBA this year and how the West is like a two-team race.
Yes.
In the NBA.
It's the two best teams.
They're the two best teams.
Well, again, the Knicks did win the NBA championship. Maybe we should give them some more credit, but
I probably should.
OKC, San Antonio, the Knicks, three best teams in the NBA. Yeah.
Feels that way. But the depth in the East, even though Boston just did some inexplicably dumb thing and traded away Jaylen Brown for what? Who knows? And why? We still don't know.
You're not buying 36-year-old Paul George, Dave?
Yeah, I'm not. Well, he had a good playoff. I mean, he looked pretty decent there. He shot it well, but yeah, I'm not buying it. I wouldn't pay him $55 million or whatever the heck they're on the hook for, although he waived his trade bonus, so that helps the salary cap.
I think he's got enough money.
A little bit. Well, doesn't it? One thing you learn about the NBA,
it's
never enough.
There's never enough.
But yeah, you're right. Like Detroit is good. Boston's still going to be good. New York's the defending champ. Cleveland, we're not sure about. I mean, they weren't particularly impressive against the Raptors. If the Raptors would have had a leading scorer who wouldn't have come up lame and actually scored.
And a point guard who played. That would have helped too.
Wouldn't have hurt if they would have had a point guard. Philly just got a lot better, obviously, and they're going to be scary. Orlando's always one of those teams that you're never sure about, but could be.
Miami with Giannis, too.
And Miami with Giannis, and then wherever LeBron lands. Then there's speculation it probably will be in the East, and it might be Miami.
The East is all of a sudden very, very deep. Maybe not the high-end skill of the West. We mentioned OKC and San Antonio in particular, but the East is very deep.
Yes.
Like, there's 7, 8 quality teams, at least on paper, heading into the season. I think the same probably applies in the NHL, too. I mean, I think you'd have to look at the Atlantic Division as a division where, I mean, depending on how you look at Boston, Detroit, Ottawa.
Okay, let's go through those names though. Like,
sure,
does Detroit scare you?
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Those teams not particularly, but the top of the Atlantic, where you look at Florida, you look at Montreal, you look at Buffalo, you look at Toronto to some degree.
Right, Ottawa just did.
Well, Ottawa, I don't.
A disservice.
Ottawa, I don't think is better.
No. So you're right. It's a little like Montreal is going to be good for a while.
I think so.
Tampa's not going anywhere. Florida is going to be back very clearly. So that's not.
I think you can make a case that the Maple Leafs have a better chance to go on a longer playoff run simply because of who the Raptors will have to play. And again, we're also talking about Kawhi Leonard like, oh, he's coming in and he's going to be healthy. He's going to be awesome. Yeah, you take away last season, that has not been the case for the vast majority of his last 7 years.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, you look
maybe
at the East, though. But look at the East. Will the Leafs be? Just talk about making the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Will they be better than Buffalo? Probably not. Montreal? Probably not. They're not going to be better than Florida. Probably not. Right? I mean,
and the Philadelphia Flyers may be adding the highest paid player in the National Hockey League any day now.
So then they're in that mix with. Will they be better than Boston and Ottawa and Detroit? Yeah, probably, maybe, hopefully, if you're a Leaf fan. But it's not a guarantee.
No. That's the thing about the Leafs, Dave. There are very few guarantees with this team. Like, what do you feel great about? I feel great that Nylander will have a nice year. I feel great Matthew Nyes will be pretty good. And John Tavares will be pretty good. I mean, beyond that...
You don't believe in number 72?
Well, I mean... Are you talking about Sergei Bobrovsky? Maybe. Again, he just had an 8-7. I thought you were talking maybe 92, Gavin McKenna, but we'll get to that momentarily. There's a lot of big question marks with Bobrovsky, with Chris Tanev, with Austin Matthews. What is he? Is he a guy who can score 50 goals again, or is he a guy who's going to score 30 goals and be kind of like a really high-quality player, but not a transcendent player like he was for the years that have gone by? So I think there's a lot of questions for both of these franchises. I think both of these teams are extraordinarily intriguing. And heading into the season for like Kawhi back in Toronto, you have a huge amount of changes with the Leafs. You're bringing in Bobrovsky, you're bringing back Tanev, you're bringing back a brand new bottom six. You're bringing in the number 1 overall pick. I can't recall a time when these two teams have been as compelling simultaneously as they are. From the storyline perspective more so than anything. But when you're considering the potential of success, maybe not that necessarily, but definitely with, the content game alone for the Leafs and the Raptors heading into September into training camp for both of those teams. My goodness, there's no shortage of intriguing storylines. And Kawhi's introductory press conference may happen this week, which would be a lot of fun too.
Well, we need Jesse Marsh to come in and tell us if the MRI is clear on Austin Matthews and Chris Tanev and Sergei Bobrovsky, because obviously their health and their longevity as players and their relevance as they get deeper into their careers here is going to be a big factor in how they play. But you're right, man. Like, if you are, say you're somebody that just bought, 25% more of MLSE at a $12 billion valuation US, I think you feel pretty good about the relevance of pro sports and its kind of one and only attraction as a live event and a ongoing soap opera, which continues to see it escalate its value year after year after year.
Yeah, and listen, there's a lot of people critical of Rodgers for not spending, cutting back on a number of things. We heard that story about the Leafs with their sports science department and Masai Ujiri, Brendan Shanahan, the lack of precedence. I mean, they trade for Kawhi Leonard, the Raptors do. They're going into the luxury tax. They're spending a lot more money on the Toronto Raptors, and I would surmise that Kawhi is not the only piece of the puzzle this offseason for the Raptors. They have more moves to make, you would think. And who knows, maybe DeMar DeRozan is part of the equation for the Toronto Raptors. I'm skeptical that's the case. But wouldn't that be some kind of story if Kyle Lowry comes out and announces DeMar's coming back? The next day, Kawhi's coming back. I don't think Kyle's capable of playing at an NBA level anymore. I know that was some speculation that maybe Kyle and DeMar would sign together tomorrow. I think Kyle's best is long. Again, even his most recent season, he barely played. So that is unlikely to happen. Could DeRozan's return happen? Like, I don't know what type of role he would play on this Raptors team with this roster and this construction. But I don't know. I'm really intrigued by how this all looks. And the little video that Kyle Lowry put out with the golf simulator and all the texts he was getting from Raptors legends is up on TSN's YouTube channel right now. So if you want to check that out, we'll tweet it out on the TSN 1050 account, put it up on the Instagram as well. But it's a compelling time to be a Toronto sports fan right now. And that's not even talking about the Jays, who are just an abomination right now at the plate. I mean, I couldn't even believe what I was watching this past weekend in Seattle. So the Jays, utter disarray, but the Leafs and the Raptors pointed seemingly in the right direction. Don't think I would have had that on my bingo card a year ago today.
No, I don't think it was looking that way at all. And you're right. I mean, it's a great time to be a fan of the winter teams. Right now, the summer team and Vladdy in the first year of his $500 million extension is kind of, the sad thing with Vladdy is he's sort of showing why the Blue Jays were very hesitant and took a very long time to give him that $500 million extension, because this is what you worry about.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating spot the Jays find themselves in, because the American League stinks. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Like the Jays could absolutely still make the playoffs, even if they play, I don't know, 550 baseball from here on out.
If they're starting pitching, it's going to be hard not to
You would think
the playoffs.
so. Now, Shane Bieber,
yeah.
Man, I don't know what that guy's got. He was probably looking at some massive contract this offseason. If he came out and pitched like he's capable of pitching, it's not looking good for him now.
Well, you got to give him some time.
You got to give him some time. You're right. And again, they've got Cease, they've got Gausman, they've got Trey Savage, whoever is the fifth guy. They're great, but it doesn't matter if you can't hit. Like, that's 21 straight innings without a run for the Jays over the weekend against Seattle's three worst starters. Their three best guys the Jays didn't even have to face.
Yeah.
So they had that advantage heading into the series in Seattle. Now they're playing some two pretty mediocre teams coming up here in San Francisco tonight, and first of three, and then they play San Diego. Then it's the All-Star break. But again, after they come back from this 6-game stretch, they have the All-Star break, and then it's less than 2 weeks till the trade deadline. And I'm very curious about the discussions going on with Atkins and Shapiro. Are we really going to be buyers? Are we going to trade assets, our young players, our prospects for this team? That's a tough sell, man.
It's a tougher sell.
And again, there are those who are contemplating the concept of the Jays being sellers. You could trade Gausman. You could probably get a pretty decent haul, but George Springer doesn't have any value on the open market.
No.
Dalton Varsho's done nothing this year.
Yeah.
So a lot of the guys you thought heading into the season, if something had gone completely awry, which it has, and I still don't think there's any world in which they're selling. I think if they lose, I don't know, 9 of their next 12, I still don't see them selling, simply because of how close they are and how bad the American League is. You sneak in and you have your Savage, Cease, and Gausman, that's what they're going to continue to tell themselves.
Well, they have to.
Yes. And they've invested so much money into this team, they have to do it.
No, you don't have an option. You have to tell yourself that, even if you don't believe it, because you also have to believe, this team is not as bad as it is. Like, it can't be this bad.
Vlad can't hit 7 home runs. No. And I know his lower back is sore, and he's not going to the All-Star game, even though he was voted in. Great. I don't know what you need to do over the next whatever number of days. He's probably going to be in the lineup tonight. We'll see when it's released later this evening. He's got to get it going, and Springer's got to get it going. I know he's been dealing with some personal issues of his own right. Alejandro Kirk, Varsho, just so many guys who we had these grand expectations for have been essentially zeros for this team. Addison Barger's barely played. These guys were all like 100% approval ratings in the city of Toronto, and all have dramatically underwhelmed this year. It's crazy how everything has gone wrong.
Yeah.
This team. That's how sports goes sometimes. Last year, everything went right, and this year, everything has gone wrong.
It's amazing because it feels a bit like the year before last year when we were sitting on this show this time of year saying, why can't they hit with runners in scoring position?
Yeah. Now they just can't hit, period.
Well, they can't hit, period. they're particularly like they're second worst in Major League Baseball in OPS, collective OPS with runners in scoring position. And they're probably not too far off that, just period, like OPS period. They're just not very good. And yet, you look at the
What
standings.
are they, 2.5 back?
You're 3 back of the last wild card.
They're
And
right
you're
there.
42 and 48.
And look at some of the teams
48.
above them. None of them are good.
That's the thing. Nobody scares you.
No way.
It's the Twins and the Astros and the Rangers you're chasing. And guess what? Like, 2 of those are under 500, just like you.
I know.
And the Rangers are right at 500. And even the Yankees, because of all their injuries to Judge and to a bunch of guys.
Yeah, a ton of guys. Yeah.
I don't even want to start the list. They're only 9 games over 500. They're not running away with it.
Not at all. Not at all.
So it's like you have to believe that it will turn around. It can turn around, and you just got to find the catalyst. Now, what do you have to? Do you fire the manager? Do you try and give a?
They just gave him a contract extension.
Yeah, but that's not a concern.
No, you're right. I mean, yes, when you're spending,
something's got to change.
You would think so.
And there aren't a lot of easy levers to pull.
I think that is very true. That's Dave Festruck from the Toronto Star. I'm Aaron Korolnik. Lots more to come here on Overdrive. We've got Jason DeVos and Leo Routens coming up here on TSN's YouTube channel later on Crave.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Last night we let the liquor talk.
Overdrive continues. We're up on TSN's YouTube channel. We will be up on Crave later tonight. I don't think I've ever been on Crave before, Dave. Double entendre as well, but that's inappropriate for this platform. But also on TSN
and the, House
1050.
of Dragon.
That's right. That's right. It's a lot of quality programming on Crave, including us later tonight. And big news in the Maple Leafs organization, the whole debate around Gavin McKenna and Sergei Bobrovsky and their number, it has been resolved. Gavin McKenna will not be wearing number 72. That belongs to Bobrovsky. McKenna opting for 92, an homage to our colleague, the O-Dog, who's
no doubt
on a very well-deserved summer vacation. You'll see him in September, but you see the tweet up on TSN's YouTube channel. Last night, I got a FaceTime after dinner. Gavin asked if it was cool. He wore the number. I said, it's the only way to go, son, LFG. That's from the O-Dog. So he's got the seal of approval.
Yeah.
McKenna, Igor Ozhiganov,
and
the O-Dog.
Alex Nylander.
Oh, that's right. Alex Nylander. That's right. That's right. So
I wonder if he called
two
that
legends.
Did he call Ozhiganov and Nylander?
I don't think Ozhiganov and Nylander got the calls, but the O-Dog definitely deserves one. And
yes,
for McKenna, that's a cool number. I think that's a very wise. And he wanted what 9 or 27 or 72. And again, when you play for an organization as long as the Leafs have been around, it's a little bit difficult to come by. But 92, I think it's a wise move, and I'm fired up to see this get in action, man. I think on the list of things regarding the Maple Leafs I'm most excited by, they have the number 1 overall pick playing. Where he's going to play, how he's going to slot in, how he's going to look. Top of the list for me as far as exciting things for the Maple Leafs heading into the season.
And I think he's going to look good. I mean,
me too.
The kid's got the one thing you can't teach is hockey IQ, and he's got it. And that's going to be a fun thing to watch grow.
Absolutely. Jason DeVos joins us in about 10 minutes. We'll recap what happened with Spain, who just advanced past Portugal to the quarterfinals in the World Cup. USA, Belgium coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm Aaron Karolnik. That's Dave Feschuk from The Star. More Overdrive after this.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
It's the second hour of OverDrive. We're live on TSN's YouTube channel. We're on TSN 1050 tonight on Crave, soon on TSN 2. I'm Aaron Korolnik. That's Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star. We have Jason DeVos joining the program in about 5 minutes to recap what just transpired at the World Cup. Spain beating Portugal 1-0. They move on to the final 8, the quarterfinals, as they say, Dave, where they will play the winner of USA-Belgium, which goes tonight at 8 p.m. on TSN and CTV. And in hour number 1, Dave, we were talking about the ratings for Canada and Morocco, how we expected them to be monumental. Communications czar here at TSN, Rob Duffy, just sending an internal email, history-making and record-breaking.
Wow.
Canada-Morocco match at FIFA World Cup 2026 sees average audience of 5.4 million viewers across the country. That's a big number, and you're talking about 11.7 million unique Canadian viewers tuned in for some of that match. You're talking about close to a third of the country, and like 30% of the country at some point was watching Canada-Morocco, which really doesn't surprise me because that was a much anticipated match that had an unfortunate result, but that's a big number for the sport and the growth, how it's going to transpire in the future. I'm really curious to know what this run for Canada at the World Cup will do for the sport in the country.
That's why Jesse Marsh is saying he'd rather be us than them.
That's right. Take that, Morocco. Yeah, you're in the quarters, but
we probably got better ratings in our country than you got in yours.
Ratings are all that really matters at the end of the
right.
day. And I should think the Moroccan television networks are envious of us here at TSN. That's for sure.
I don't know if Canada was the better team, as their coach so eloquently insisted, but Canada got the better ratings.
That's right. That's all that matters. And I just am really intrigued to see how the rest of this World Cup plays out. It's unfortunate that Canada's out. It's not surprising. I don't think anyone thought Canada was going to be in the quarterfinals of the World Cup.
Well,
but it was
possible.
It was possible.
If everybody played.
If everybody played, it was definitely possible. Now, Morocco's playing France. They're probably going to get obliterated. And as one of my friends stated so eloquently, it would be an honor to get destroyed by France. And he's right. Canada playing France, listen, anything could happen, but Mbappe's probably good for a couple there, minimum, against Canada.
They're so good.
They're so good. Playing against France is a total buzzsaw for whoever. But just imagine our boys, from Leamington and from Aurora going up against Mbappe and Dembele and those freaks on France who are so incredible. Sadly, it's not happening, but good luck to Morocco and what is likely to be a demolition of sorts in favor of the French.
Like, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to tonight's game. USA-Belgium, which has taken quite the turn, with Balogun now eligible to play after getting the red card in the previous game. Just throw that one out. FIFA's good with it. Gianni Infantini, hopefully I said his name correctly, who runs FIFA, came out with a statement and said that Donald Trump had nothing to do with it. It was independent review. We made the determination, yada, yada, yada. And frankly, I think it was kind of a garbage red card to begin with.
It was.
So there is that. And there have been certain things that have happened at this World Cup already that have gone against protocol, including Ronaldo, who was eliminated today with Portugal. He was supposed to be suspended for the first 3 games of this tournament. Mm-hmm. And they said, don't worry, it's all good. It's all good. So what's the difference, right? You make a sacrifice for, as far as the credibility of the tournament for one guy, why not do it for another? And the Americans are the hosts. Listen, do I think it's going to matter? Frankly, no. I think Belgium's winning this game tonight anyways. And
they're not that good, though.
They're not that good. No, they're not that good.
No.
But it's going to be a very compelling game. And again, the Americans are the home side, which is definitely favorable. But the one thing this has absolutely done has created a ton of intrigue heading into this match. And I think virtually every single non-American on the planet is rooting for Belgium to kill those guys.
Yes, that is the unifying force here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and even, when you've got, UEFA coming out and saying FIFA, you get the European Football Association saying FIFA has crossed the red line here. They're killing FIFA. You've got the former head of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, killing FIFA.
Yes, and again, he is the model for all things being above board. No corruption involved in his tenure at all. anything he says, we should really take as a matter of fact.
Hypocrisy aside,
yes,
the fact is that nobody likes this decision other than, I think, the Americans, although maybe
the Americans love the decision.
Well, I'm not sure they're liking it as much anymore because now everybody's rooting against them and they kind of are the bad guys and they're supposed to be the underdogs and suddenly everybody was rooting against them and hating them because of, a decision that is kind of unprecedented outside of the 1962 instance that you cited earlier.
I know all about that Brazilian decision back in 1962. It's something I researched and vetted very, very closely.
Right.
You know how I am, Dave. So again, Jason DeVos is going to join us momentarily. We're certainly fired up. You know what? Why delay another second? Let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend himself, TSN soccer analyst, joining us on the Maple Toyota hotline. Mr. DeVos, good to see you. What's going on?
Good to see you guys. Interesting times we're living in right now, eh?
All right, so let's get to it. Balogun's playing tonight. When you saw that decision was ultimately levied by Infantino and the entire FIFA group, what was your reaction, Jason?
Shock, disbelief, outrage, you name it. I mean, we've always known if you get a red card and it doesn't get rescinded, you're suspended. And this is, bureaucracy, politics, everything rolled up into one. And I this isn't new. Every single major tournament that I've ever competed in as a player or a coach, it's been crystal clear that there are rules and regulations that need to be followed. And this appears to be on the surface, and there may be something underneath the surface that we're not seeing, but this appears to be manipulation and favoritism and all sorts of other things that we probably shouldn't be saying out loud. It is unfortunate because, as I said earlier today to someone else, we want to be focusing on what's happening on the field, which is exceptional. Like, we are witnessing one of the best World Cups we've ever seen. The big stars have all come out to play, and they're all firing on all cylinders right now. And unfortunately, this drama has been foisted upon us for reasons unbeknownst to any of us.
Yeah. So what do you think this does, Jason, to the on-field product tonight? Like, does it change the tone of the game in your mind when, you got a guy out there that everybody in the stadium outside of the really partisan American supporters thinks shouldn't be playing. The whole world outside of America thinks he shouldn't be playing. And maybe plenty of people in America probably will acknowledge it's unprecedented or nearly unprecedented for him to be playing. Does it, in your experience, when there's an injustice like that plays out right in front of your eyes, how does it affect the competitive tone of a game?
In reality, it probably won't affect the performance of the players themselves. Obviously, the U.S. are going to be, going up another level because they don't have a like-for-like replacement for Balogun up top as a number 9. I mean, he's really filled a void in their lineup that's been there for a few years now. And, having him back is going to give them a massive boost. But from Belgium's perspective, they're going to look at it as just one more piece of incentive that perhaps the coach can use to motivate the team. It's that old famous saying, everyone hates us, we don't care. Everybody's against us, and you use that as a rallying call to kind of galvanize your troops. And that might be what we see from Belgium. But, at the end of the day, it's going to be a storyline in the lead up to kickoff, and it's going to be a storyline after the game ends, regardless of the result. If Belgium are able to capitalize on their chances and progress through to the next round, they'll say that it wasn't a factor and it was just another piece of motivation for us. If Belgium get eliminated, then I think this is going to continue to boil over the course of the remainder of the tournament and even beyond that.
What do you think happens with some of the other red cards that have been handed out? And there will be appeals and people will be complaining. I mean, if this red card is overturned, if you're England last night, for instance, how do you not say, what about our red card? Why is there preferential treatment for one team over another?
Yeah, and you end up re-officiating the matches, and nobody wants that. I think when you look at the technology that we have now, it really is quite remarkable in terms of offsides, VAR, and snickos and all that sort of thing that we have. The technology is supposed to be there to help advance the game. And, I think we want to be really careful that we don't lose the essence of what makes our game the beautiful game, which is the element of human error, the element of 45 minutes of nonstop action, and the introduction of the hydration break in games where hydration wasn't required has really turned it into 4 periods. And so, like, it fundamentally changes the essence of our game. And I think that's something that we really need to try and avoid. So, I'm hopeful that, smarter, calmer heads will prevail. And, whether anything's going to happen now this close to kickoff, unlikely. But I do think that there's going to be a major investigation into how this happened and how this could come to be. And obviously, they don't want to make this mistake moving forward.
Jason, we were just talking about how, this is a very strange decision in a lot of ways, including the fact that you've got, people who are essentially under the umbrella of FIFA, like UEFA, railing against the decision, saying that FIFA has crossed a red line here. You've got the former head of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, who, as AK points out, is probably doesn't have a moral leg to stand on, but is absolutely railing against this decision and calling it a bridge too far. In your experience, you've walked those halls. You've been a part of a delegation at international tournaments representing Canada, and sort of rub shoulders with those blue blazers that run this sport. I mean, does this put Gianni Infantino's reign as FIFA president under scrutiny in a way that maybe he wasn't expecting?
It's possible. I do think that there could be a higher degree of scrutiny on his role in all of this than ever before. When you go into a major tournament, whether it's the World Cup, whether it's the Olympic Games, the rules and regulations are crystal clear to the point where you go through a workshop where they walk you through every single line of every single page. And so it is your responsibility as a team participating in a major event to understand the rules and regulations. And I think that's kind of what's blindsided a lot of people in this, is that never before have we seen something like this happen, or something decreed from high above and postponed. It flies in the face of the competitive nature and the risk that you take as a player walking out over the white line. If you get too many yellow cards accumulation, you're going to get suspended for a game. If you get a red card, you're going to get suspended for at least one game, potentially more, depending on what the offense is for. And this just feels wrong in so many ways because it's altered the competitive nature. It's altered the unwritten contract that we sign with ourselves and with our teammates and with our opposition, that we're going to abide by the rules and regulations. And it just hasn't happened here. So, again, as I said, this is a big storyline that we're going to have to follow continuously, regardless of the outcome of today's match. Even if Belgium are able to overcome the odds and beat the United States on home soil, this is still going to rumble on, once that tournament is finished.
Must-watch TV tonight, 8 p.m., USA, Belgium, and the winner of that match will play Spain, who advanced past Portugal today 1-0. Jason DeVos is our guest here on OverDrive. Aaron Karolnik, Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star until 7 o'clock. Let's talk about Canada's departure from the World Cup on Saturday afternoon. We were talking about the ratings. Much credit to you, Jason. Of course, you should take a bow for that. More so than Dusty or Wildman. We know that.
They didn't tune in to watch me. Yeah.
But incredible ratings and not surprising. I'm curious, as someone who's been around this sport and had such an impact on this sport in Canada for so long, what do you think this run for Canada will do at the grassroots level and hopefully for the future at international tournaments for our Canadian teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the unanswerable question that everyone would love to scream and say, oh, the numbers are going to double and soccer is going to take over the country. I think for this period of time, the interest is high. And what we have to do as a nation is we have to capitalize on that. So, I think there will be a large swath of boys and girls across the country from coast to coast to coast who have fallen in love with soccer. And they're going to want to play. And now it's on us to make that experience a really enjoyable one for them. I still think back to 1986 when I was 12 years old and Canada's men's team were playing in the World Cup for the first time, and they didn't score a goal, they didn't get a point, they didn't win a game, they didn't do anything of note. But that experience of just watching that tournament was enough to say, light the fire inside of me that, you know what, I want to do that one day. And I was one of the very, very fortunate ones who was able to live that dream. There will be countless boys and girls across the country who now want to be the next Stefan Estacchio, the next Jonathan David, the next Promise David, the next Nico Segur. These are the stars of the future that are in the seedling form right now. And that's you can't put a price on that. So, for everyone that's involved in the game at whatever level you're involved, your job now is just to nurture things and to make the environment enjoyable, ensure that players are having a good, positive experience with the game, and let time, work its magic. Because, we used to say this all the time at Canada Soccer. Not every grassroots player will end up on the national team, but every national team player started in grassroots. And that's the key piece for all of us. This event, there was a lot of question marks about the expansion is going to water down the competition. Nothing could be further from the truth. I completely disagree with that. I actually feel the opposite. The expansion has been brilliant. And I could see a world where FIFA decide to go to 64 teams and then do top two in each group, progress to the round of 32 to try to engage more fans, more countries, more fan bases, more players, more teams from around the world. And at the end of the day, the last 3 weeks has been a party for everybody, and we've all loved it. The big stars have come out to play. They're all scoring goals left and right. A lot of question marks on some defending, but we'll get to that on another day. But it's been a fabulous tournament. And so I think our responsibility as Canadians is to just keep that fire going, just keep that fire alive in each and every one of the kids across the country that's fallen in love with our sport. Make sure they've got a ball, make sure they have a good experience, and then let time, run its course.
Jason, we were just talking about how, Canada had such a great first half against Morocco and just missed that sort of next level play that could have put them over the top, gave them a lead. Maybe everything changes. But those next level plays that we're seeing with the Erling Haaland, dominating, and the Mbappes dominating, the Messis and the Ronaldos through history, just changing games with one touch. We haven't had a player like that. Alphonso Davies is the closest thing we've had to a game changer. And of course, we all know he only played a handful of minutes and in what was a, lamentable end to the tournament for him. But the question we were having is can Canada produce guys of that nature? Is our infrastructure, in your opinion, able to produce a next level star that could become a guy that dominates a World Cup?
I think we can. I mean, the reality is, we don't have as developed an infrastructure as they have in European countries or South American countries, for example, where the game has, decades and decades of professional infrastructure behind it. I would say Canada is very much at the fledgling point of that, the seedling point, and that's on both the men's and the women's side. When you look at Major League Soccer and its influence on Canadian soccer. A lot of the players on the men's national team either currently play in MLS or they went through MLS on their way to somewhere bigger. And I think the CPL is going to do the same thing on the men's side. I think the NSL is going to do that on the women's side and really give our Canadian players who are young on the boys and girls side something to aspire to. The invent of academy ecosystems. I know that AFC Toronto on the women's side are launching their academy in a couple of weeks from now, which is an incredibly exciting time for every young girl who aspires to be the next Christine Sinclair. We have to nurture those environments. We long talked about offboarding strategies or getting as many Canadians into the best possible environments that they could get into right now. So when Alphonso Davies goes from the Vancouver Whitecaps to Bayern Munich, that is a positive step in his development. And I don't think, we as Canadians have to say we need to hold on to him and keep him in Vancouver because he's going to be our best player. We have to encourage that growth and that development because he's now in an environment where he's playing with and against some of the best players in the world on a week-to-week basis, playing in the Champions League. So we have to push our players to reach the highest level of the game that they can reach, but at the same time know that we have to develop our infrastructure and ecosystem to be able to help get more players to that level.
Jason DeVos with us here on OverDrive. There are 3 more round of 16 games to go. USA, Belgium tonight, 2 games tomorrow, Argentina, Egypt, and then Switzerland and Colombia. Who do you like right now? Like, who's your favorite at this point in time? It's because there's so many superstars still in the mix. It's unbelievable theater. Some of these games, I mean, France playing Morocco coming up. I mean, to see Erling Haaland up against the English is going to be so special. I mean, the tournament's setting up to conclude in just a fabulous way. Where is your mind leaning as far as the eventual winner? And I know you don't want Wildman to be happy, so I'm sure you won't pick the English.
Well, it's funny. If I don't say something nice about England, my wife and kids won't let me back in the house. So, I was very impressed with England last night. I had grave concerns for their well-being going into that match, given Mexico's record at the Azteca. But what we saw was a very mature performance from England. And, Thomas Tuchel took a lot of criticism for not bringing some of the top stars, the top players, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, even Harry Maguire to a certain extent. But I was really pleased with his choices when he made his selections and his rationale, because he effectively said, I'm going to bring the best group of players, not the best stars, not the biggest names. I'm going to bring the group of players that I think is going to work really well together. And we saw that last night, when Dan Burn comes on and blocks a shot with his head, and does everything, puts his body on the line to get a result, having not really played a role in the tournament thus far. I think that shows you have a group of players who are willing to play for each other, which I think is really integral to success. I mean, we had that with our Canadian men's team and have had that for the last 4, 5, 6 years, a group of men who are willing to lay down and take a bullet for their teammate. That brotherhood, as we call it, is so important. And I think England took a big stride forward in that respect last night, getting the result against Mexico. Everyone talks about France because they have more great players than everybody else. And the key for Deschamps is to knit that group of superstars into a team and to have them play as a team. And, I think that they came up against the dark arts the other day a little bit and had to, fight their way through that. But, they're a powerful team and everyone's probably number one favorite right now. In terms of the games that are coming up, Spain obviously came up with the goods. It wasn't beautiful today. It wasn't beautiful football by any means, but they got it done. So, you get to this stage of the tournament and you got some of the big hitters that are still there. But I love Norway's story as well. Small nation with so much about them. And Erling Haaland, he's the kind of guy that you would just like to have over to your house, have a barbecue with, and sit down and have a couple beers with. Like, he just looks like a guy that you can hang out with, and he's just an everyday man. So, his success has been fantastic to watch in this tournament as well.
Be expensive barbecue. He's a big boy, Jason. I don't have that kind of money. I work in
No
Canadian
kidding.
sports media.
No
we
kidding.
can't afford to feed that guy. 6'5" Norwegian. But it's been a blast. You and the team doing a fantastic job. So keep it up. Thanks so much for doing this. Have yourself a great night.
My pleasure, guys. Have a good one.
All right, great to see you. That's Jason DeVos, who joined us on the Maple Toyota hotline. It's time to Toyota. Check out the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Maple Toyota, near Canada's Wonderland and the Maple Auto Mall. Norway winning would be incredible.
Oh.
They were, I believe, 35-1 on FanDuel before the tournament began. You had a litany of teams who were 10-1 or lower. The Englands, the Spains. You had, of course, France and Brazil and like just those the powerhouses, the perennial powerhouses.
Big names.
Norway would be coming out of nowhere to do. And Holland is such a transcendent superstar in his own right. He's such a unique look. And the Norwegian Viking row is something that everybody loves.
Their fans are one of the big stars of the tournament.
Oh, absolutely. It was the Scots early on taking over Boston, taking over Miami, but it's the Norwegian fans now that have taken over. And it was incredible. I was walking around downtown last night after Brazil lost. And, man, there were a lot of despondent Brazilians patrolling the streets of downtown Toronto, just shaking their heads in disbelief that they lost to Norway. And, again, Brazil is like the personification of soccer in our world. I mean, think about the history of that nation when it comes to that sport. And Norway's got 5 million people, the infrastructure. But what no one has on Brazil, what Brazil doesn't have is Erling Haaland, who's just ridiculous. Those 2 goals that he scored yesterday,
incredible.
The header and the left foot strike, just preposterous.
Yeah.
He is just a machine.
It's
I love watching him play. I love him.
And they're down to 17-1.
All right. I'm interested in that.
They don't really feel like long shots. I mean, they feel like they can compete with anybody.
You would think so. And again, the problem is they've got England, who's pretty good, coming up.
Yeah, but
the English supporters, man, they are as passionate as anybody as well.
But England has a history of screwing it up somewhere
I've heard.
along the line.
What was it, 1966, the last time they won this tournament?
They're like the Leafs of soccer.
Yeah, that is the comparison that people like to make. That's Dave Feschuk. I am Aaron Korolnik. Lots more Overdrive to come with Leo Routens joining us in studio on the other side. Maybe he's got the scoop on what the deal is with Kyle Lowry and the expected press conference tomorrow. So we'll ask Leo. He'll join us around the table here on Overdrive next.
Back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Overdrive continues Monday night on TSN 1050, TSN 2, TSN's YouTube channel. Later tonight on Crave, I'm Aaron Korolnik. That's Dave Feschuk with a special in-studio guest wearing a suit that is very similar color to mine. Trying to match me. My man Leo Routen's with us. What's going on, Leo? Good to see you.
Oh, good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. Very exciting time for basketball in our country, in our city. This big press conference tomorrow, mysterious, maybe involving Kyle Lowry. You're plugged in. What's going on? Fill us in.
Well, yeah, honestly, I don't know much more than I know what you guys are hearing. I'm just speculating.
Okay.
You saw Kyle kind of put something out on social media. So in my imagination, what I think would be pretty cool story, Kyle does his one-day thing. DeMar, who's now a free, out of a, or, in a buyout situation, becomes a bench player for the Raptors.
Oh, interesting.
It'd be a great story.
It would be.
You could use the scoring off the bench.
Sure.
Depending on how everybody accepts roles and dollar figures and all that kind of thing. But again, this is my imagination. I would love to kind of see that. I think it'd be a great, Kawhi comes back. DeMar, who was shut out, comes back. But I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea.
You think that would be a role for DeMar? Because we all know, obviously, beloved. Everybody would love it.
Except Drake.
Yeah. Who cares about Drake? But he's never been a reserve, right? Since his rookie year. He started every game he's played since he was a rookie, I believe. We all know this is a defense-first coach, and DeMar's never been accused of being defense-first, Leo.
Right.
But he does score. Do you think there could be a fit?
Well, let's just look at, Kawhi, I think he's missed 106 games in the last 4 years.
Right.
Let's just say, even if he plays a lot, he's going to miss games. Okay? Quickly, he's missed, I forget the numbers, 74 games the last 3 years. Pirtle's missed 89 in the last 3 years. You're going to need somebody that can come in and score some points.
At Canada.ca/getting-ahead.
I think every player reaches a stage where, money's no longer an object. He's got generational money. He wants to get his uniform retired here. What better way than to come off and be a contributor to a team that maybe could win?
Well, and I think that's really interesting. Again, you say maybe can win. And Dave and I were talking about the Eastern Conference, which all of a sudden is becoming pretty deep as far as legitimate threats.
Yeah.
I mean, Miami adding Giannis, we don't know what LeBron is going to decide. Let's say he goes to Cleveland, they're way better. Maybe he goes to Miami, they're way better. Boston, who knows what they've done with that Jaylen Brown trade. They're going to be good. Exactly. Yeah. Philly's going to be good. The Knicks are going to be good. Detroit's going to be good. There's just a long list. If you're DeMar DeRozan, you're looking for chance to win an NBA championship. You have Toronto. Maybe you could go to a number of places. Just how big a threat, at least at this point, do you think the Raptors actually are?
Well, I think the Raptors are a threat. I'm going to go back to what I said a little while ago. I'm still looking for that big.
Yeah.
None of us understand Jakob Poeltl's situation. I don't know, what his health status is going to be. It's been a struggle. I just don't understand. I don't get. We're talking about 3 years now going, we need another big, right? We need another big.
Yeah.
I was just, last year's draft, the Raptors took Elijah Martin, a wing. I think 43rd pick in a draft, which was after Martin, was Raynard from Sacramento, a starting center, starting center in the NBA. You got to get a big, right? So, if they can find another piece. The one thing I said with Kawhi, all of a sudden, you're more in the mix than you ever were. But with Kawhi, there's a responsibility to add some pieces.
Yeah.
I really think you have to be fair to Kawhi and to solidify your opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. So tonight, FIBA qualifying, Leo.
Yeah.
You got the Canada-Jamaica game emanating from Hamilton. Canada, the big favorite. But what does it mean? Like you've seen this, you've been a part of this program as a player and a coach. You've seen it grow over the years. What does it mean to sort of see it at this point now, where you've got, the 2-time reigning MVP of the NBA as the centerpiece of a team that is going to, be a buzzsaw as it moves through FIBA qualifying?
It's amazing to watch. I mean, even when Canada had a 2-time MVP and Steve, the supporting cast wasn't what it could have been, right? Now you have a 2-time MVP, and you're cutting NBA guys.
Yeah.
and if you remember, we talk a lot when I was coaching, and I always made the point that when you looked at Serbia's and Argentina's and Brazil, they had 18 to 24 guys in their system that knew the game, played together. So if Scola and give me an Argentina. And Scola and somebody else can't play.
Right.
They got guys that they seamlessly fit in.
Right.
Well, now Canada's in the point now where you have 24, 25 guys, and they're all getting that FIBA experience, and they all want to play. They're all talented. You're putting yourself into an elite group. So for me, watching this, man, it's beautiful.
Well, no, I'm sure, and I'm sure for a lot of the old school Canadian soccer guys who were around in the 90s, it must be a very similar feeling where you're like, wow, look at us. We're playing against Morocco in the World Cup when we could never even come close to qualifying for the World Cup. Now Canada's a 41-point favorite in a qualifying game against Jamaica tonight. It's unbelievable, the progress.
And you know what's cool about it? You're hearing these guys talk like Dylan Brooks, Shea, everybody. They're talking about how much they want to play, how much. This is like, when we all played, we didn't have these $1 million contracts, so it was everything to us. So there were less distractions to be a member of the team, but you didn't have to beg us to play. We wanted to play. We got to play with it. Every summer you look forward to playing with your guys, right? And these guys are got that same thing now. They got that same feeling where, hey, I can't wait to play with my guys this summer. We got some unfinished business. Let's take care of this. That's what all the international teams do. I mean, that pride of playing for your country. So to me, it's beautiful. It really is amazing to see. And it's going to continue to get better.
Yeah, no, it's fabulous. Let's get back to the Raptors. I mean, we're talking about Kawhi Leonard's coming in, Leo, and obviously the availability issues have been huge. He's missed 60%. I think he's missed 40% of the available games since he joined the Clippers, left the Raptors, right. Broke Toronto hearts back in 2019, and yet there's the idea that, hey, Alex McKechnie, the guru of sports science with the Raptors, was the guy that, sort of got him through the season and got him to play all 24 playoff games on the road to the championship for the Raptors. I mean, how do you see that fit, and how do you see sort of Kawhi navigating it as we move into the season?
Well, hey, there would be no Kawhi in championship without Alex McKechnie. There would be no Ingram and whatever 77 games he played to make this deal to get Kawhi without Alex McKechnie. So, Alex has been, I think, an instrumental figure in this whole saga of some of these guys. But, Kawhi, okay, here's the interesting part. Career or contract year. Amazing how many guys.
That happened from time to time in pro sports, Leo?
Yeah, and so that's kind of the scary part about it. Okay, he has a phenomenal year, contract year. And with the issues going on in Clipperland, the best thing you could do is have a great year and have people talk about your basketball and nothing else. So I'm hoping that that carries forward. But if anybody can keep the health aspect, it's Alex. Alex, and there's a trust there too. I mean, Kawhi trusts Alex McKechnie. They established a relationship. But one of the ways to keep a guy healthy and to absorb the games that he's going to miss is other guys.
That's right. Depth is very, very, very
That's why
important.
I threw out this DeMar thing. That's why I'm talking about a big. You got to have some of those options.
Yeah, you got to get to the playoffs, and you got to get to the playoffs with Kawhi Leonard available for you.
Yeah.
And if you think he's going to play 75 games for you, it's just not going to happen.
Or do you want him to?
Well, no, you
That's
don't.
The other question.
You love him. If I told you Kawhi plays 50 games, the Raptors...
Well, I want more than 50.
Well, let's just say they play 50 games. The Raptors are 4th in the East, 5th in the East, and Kawhi's healthy and ready to go.
Yeah.
Everyone's taking that.
Hey, absolutely. I mean, we all saw what playoff Kawhi is all about, and that was still looking back on that run. And, I remember Milwaukee game, and they were down, and they lose this game, it's over. They would have been down,
down
3-0.
3, yeah.
And
that game went to overtime,
and
too.
he was hurting. I mean, you could tell he was hurting. And I'm looking at this guy going, he's getting rebounds and he's got no business getting. He's getting stops. He's got no like he just made up his mind that we're not losing this game.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you see some of that stuff in person and live, I go, oh my God,
And that was the game where there was this feeling around the team that Giannis was afraid of Kawhi when they started saying.
I think a lot of people are afraid of Kawhi.
Exactly. Like when Kawhi became the head of the snake in the Nick Nurse, famous Nick Nurse wall, right? That's when people started to look at Giannis and say he's not really attacking that the way he attacks everybody else, and everything changed in that series.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the one thing that team. Remember, there was a good team till they got there, and before he got, before they traded JV, remember they were number one and the whole thing going rolling, but there was no fear when you played Toronto.
Right.
When Kawhi showed up, there was some serious respect. People are going like, all right, okay. It changed. I mean, he commands a great deal of respect because the people know he can hurt you.
Yeah, and I think Scotty Barnes as well. The way he performed in that playoff series against Cleveland could very well be on his way
to see how.
Oh yeah.
Like one of the things that blew me away, if you watched Kawhi, even in the shoot around before the game, he's like a machine. Everything was every day, bang, boom, boom. Every shot was the same. Every move, like. So precise for a player like Scotty Barnes to see that every day, I think could be really, really good for him.
I can't wait. Again, the Raptors are back, baby.
Hell yeah.
Not that they went away, but man, there's a ton of excitement heading into this.
Let's get a big,
and then get another championship. Leo, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming by. We
always a
appreciate
pleasure. Thank you.
That's Leo Routens. It's Canada, Jamaica FIBA qualifiers tonight on TSN. Korolnik and Feshuk will wrap things up with our FanDuel best bets here on OverDrive next.
For the United States of America, the dream continues.
Tonight,
This is the moment.
on TSN 1050, the round of 16 continues as the United States takes on Belgium. Coverage starts at 8 p.m.
The world's biggest stage.
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Winding down here on the Monday afternoon edition of Overdrive. I guess it's Monday night now, Dave. It's a later start for us here on Overdrive. Underdrive, as some like to call us, which is very hurtful, but complimentary at the same time. It's creative. Also, I may have made that up to begin with.
They're noticing you.
Yes, that's it. We'll take it. What do they say? Any press is good press, regardless of how it goes.
Exactly.
I may be paraphrasing how that saying actually goes.
Close
in any
enough.
case. Korolnik Feschuk until about 6:54. All right, I've got my best bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks, assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The much-anticipated USA-Belgium game tonight. I'm so excited to see how it plays out. Balogun's playing after getting the red card, and then it was rescinded, and then the whole Donald Trump, Infantino, whatever happened behind the scenes, whatever. He's playing. He's playing tonight, and he is in my SGP tonight on FanDuel to have one shot on target.
Okay.
Alongside both teams to score, and my guy, Christian Pulisic. Anytime goal scorer, that SGP plus 277. And, of course, it's a homage to our esteemed producer, Doogie, a.k.a. Josh Pulis. Pulisic, close enough.
There it is.
So how could this possibly miss?
That's right.
Knowing that. And I know Brian Hayes has been doing very well on his FanDuel best bets for the World Cup. We're going to continue that lineage this evening here on our FanDuel Best Bets. Same game parlays are available for every World Cup match on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Big night in soccer, big day tomorrow in the city of Toronto. We expect Kyle Lowry to have some sort of jersey retirement announcement, one-day contract. Maybe DeMar DeRozan's a part of it. Maybe we get Kawhi Leonard announced as well, which has been conspicuously quiet today, considering the moratorium has been lifted. We would have thought it was going to happen today, but I guess with the Lowry thing, they're going to wait and hold off. And I guess Kawhi's got new agents. Who knows what's going on with that dude?
Kawhi's got a lot going on.
He's the most fascinating guy in sports because we know so remarkably little about what this guy has going on. I guess we know a little bit.
Quite a bit.
Yes, I suppose financially what he's got going on, but as far as his personal life goes, I mean, who knows what Kawhi Leonard's coming back to Toronto for, really. You know, you see these Shams Charania reports, Kawhi wants to finish his career in Toronto. He feels this. He's comfortable here. I'm like, okay, maybe.
He wants a contract extension because I think one thing we could say for sure is
and nobody else would give it to him?
He really likes money.
Well, that's it. And I believe he is eligible to sign a contract extension for $123.7 million over 2 years. He's making, what, 50 this year? Mm-hmm. So the Raptors would be shelling out, my math is correct, close to $60 million per season over the next 3 years.
60 plus.
That's pretty good business. I would want to come back to Toronto as well. That's a big ticket, man. For a 35, 36, 37-year-old, huge risk for Bobby Webster. And again, I'm not going to say he's putting his job on the line with this.
Simply he got a big extension.
He did just get a big extension. Again, he's trading draft picks in 2031 and 2033, and they have Scotty Barnes, they have Colin Murray-Boyles, R.J. Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickley, amongst others. But that's a big financial commitment. If I'm one of his bosses, I'm like, okay, Bobby, you better know what you're doing here. This guy better be playing for us because that's a lot of money to shell out for one player in the NBA.
But to the point you just made, you just got excited about the Raptors.
Oh, well, that's
You just talked about the Raptors are back, even though the Raptors were on a nice upward trajectory.
And I would say let's use OverDrive as a barometer for what's important in the Toronto Canadian sports fans' mind, which I think is totally fair to say.
Very good.
How often were the Raptors mentioned in the regular season last year on OverDrive?
Exactly.
Extremely rare. So now I can guarantee you September, October rolls around, Kawhi talk nonstop, Raptor talk nonstop. The irrelevance is over. Again, this is a relevant basketball team, but once you reach these great heights of winning the NBA championship, that's what we remember. We remember 2019. Anything less now, you just shrug your shoulders and say no thanks. And this past incarnation of the Raptors had no chance of winning the NBA title. Does this one Can't wait to find out.
Hey, man, Bobby Webster could teach Vladdy something. You got to try and hit a home run now.
That's right. I mean, maybe so.
You might not hit it, but you got to try and hit it.
Yeah.
Can't just be singles up the middle. Line drive here, line drive there. You got to swing for the fence now and then, and he did.
Well, that's a team that desperately could use a win tonight. Kevin Gausman pitching for Toronto against San Fran. San Fran's terrible. I think they're 8 games under 5. I mean, compared to the Jays.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to again.
Too.
The Jays are, I think, 6 or 7
6
games,
under.
6 under right now after losing to Seattle 2-3. Barely scored any runs. They got 6 games before the All-Star break, and they better do some work against San Fran or San Diego. Or
you need a shakeup.
Maybe they do, and what that looks like, I don't know. You're gonna fire the manager. I guess. Again, baseball is like, what is that doing? How is firing John Schneider going to change anything?
I don't know.
It's just, and I don't think that would be. Again, this is a team that was in Game 7 of the World Series last year. I think that would be an overreaction. John Schneider would probably say, "What do you want from me?" It's like, I'm not getting paid $25 million to hit 210 like George Springer or $500 million to have 4 home runs like Vlad Jr.
Yeah.
Go talk to them. Don't talk to me. And that would be totally
That sounds like
fair.
Craig Berube. How did that go for Craig?
Defensive zone structure and
No, remember he had "Don't ask me, ask them."
Well, that was a Craig Berube line.
You don't say "Don't ask me, ask them."
I guess "Don't ask me, ask them" is probably not a good idea in this day and age of professional sports. But I'm looking forward to that game. Looking forward to USA Belgium. Should be a really fun night. And then tomorrow could be a very interesting day with the Raptors as well, with the Lowry, maybe DeRozan, maybe Kawhi Leonard news pending. Dave, great to see you.
Always fun.
I'll see you on Wednesday. Corrado's in with me tomorrow. So it's the Aaron Karolnik takeover on OverDrive, which I know is much to the chagrin of those on OverDrive Reddit. Thanks to JP, Doogie. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy USA and Belgium on TSN and CTV.